The Battle of Sarhū refers to the series of conflicts between the Manchus of the later Jin and Ming dynasty of China in the winter of year 1619, which ended in the overwhelming victory for the Manchus. The Manchu cavalry defeated forces equipped with matchlocks and cannons. So the Battle of Sarhū is sometimes compared to the Battle of Nagashino in Japanese history. Background: Nareisi unified all the Jurchen tribes except the Yaya and took a hostile attitude towards the Ming. In 1618, he proclaimed 7 grievances against Ming government to heaven and declared war on the Ming forces. He occupied Fushun, Qinghe and other cities, and then pulled out. The death of Ming Vice-General Zhang Chengyin stunned the Ming court. In 1619, he attacked Yaya in an attempt to provoke the Mings. The Ming dynasty eventually decided to dispatch massive expeditionary forces, led by military commissioner Yang Hao. The Mings planned to besiege Hechuela, Nurhachi's home, from 4 routes. The western route. This route was under the overall command of Du Song. Du Song led his forces west from Shenyang, and recaptured Fushun, which was undefended. He set off from Shenyang on the night of the 29th of the 2nd lunar month, under torchlight. He had orders to arrive at Yugorgate on the 2nd of the 3rd lunar month, so he arrived the next day at Fushun, 100 li away. He set off from Fushun on the 1st of the 3rd lunar month. Just beyond Fushun is the Sarhu mountain pass and Jilin Cliff. It is where the Susi River and Han River converge. Du Song was advised to camp for the night, but he refused, and so forded the river topless and clouded with liquor on horseback. He was then asked to wear armor, and he replied that being in the military for this many years he did not know how heavy armor was, as he never wore it, and crossed the river. When his forces were halfway across, Nareisi ordered his bannermen to break the dams they had prepared, and thus a portion of Du Song's men and equipment had to be left behind or were lost in the river. That night, Du Song divided his forces in 2 camps, one at Sarhu mountain pass and he himself took one at Jilin Cliff. This was the 1st of the 3rd lunar month. Nareisi had his 8 banners. He sent 2 banners against Du Song to keep him in check at Jilin Cliff and himself took 6 banners and attacked the Sarhu camp. The fighting was fierce, both sides fought valiantly, but the Ming forces were completely destroyed. Du Song heard of the defeat at Sarhu and was now very wary. Nareisi now concentrated all his forces against Du Song's Jilin Cliff camp. Du Song was a courageous warrior and led from the front, but Nareisi had him besieged. Hilltop, hillfoot, forest and valley. He was totally surrounded, with Du Song's forces firing artillery outwards with lit torches. He was lighting his own forces up clearly for Nurhachi's forces to attack. The western route was totally destroyed. Du Song and the other 2 generals, Wang Shan and Zhao Menglan, were also killed in combat. Du Song died from an arrow by Liang Bu, 13th son of Nareisi. The northern route. Upon hearing of Du Song's destruction, Ma Lin grew more cautious. He divided his forces in 2 and together with Du Song's remnant forces, mainly supply units, formed 3 fortified camps protected by chariots, artillery and trenches. Nurhachi concentrated his 8 banners on each camp consecutively, initially on Ma Lin's own camp. Ma Lin's artillery opened fire, but due to their slow rate of fire they were cut to pieces by the Jurchen cavalry. Ma Lin escaped as his camp was annihilated. The other 2 camps also fell after Nurhachi's assault. The eastern route. On the 3rd, Nareisi and Dazan rested and recuperated. Reports on Lu Ting and Li Rubai's routes arrived. Nareisi decided to attack Lu Ting first, as Li Rubai's forces were mainly traversing mountain routes. Nareisi ordered some of his troops to disguise themselves as Ming troops and mix them into Lu Ting's forces. He also sent a message to Lu Ting with his messengers disguised as Du Song's messengers, and they reported to Lu Ting that Du Song was already approaching their destination and asked him to speed up. Lu Ting took the bait and increased the pace of his advance. This ruse induced Lu Ting's troop lose cohesion with other Ming forces and advanced into a deep valley and walked straight into an ambush. He was then ambushed in a Budali Pass as his troops stretched themselves in a serpentine form to traverse the valley. His forces met Dazan's forces and were cut to pieces. He himself, wielding his glaive, fought valiantly, but was cut to pieces. He also had around 15,000 zhàn contingent whose armor and protection was made of bamboo and were useless against the steel blades of the zhàn warriors. They were completely slaughtered. The 13,000-strong Korean force, including at least 10,000 musketeers, were not effective due to direction of windage against them. Also, they delivered volley without arrowheads because they did not intend to fight with them in the first place. They wanted to maintain neutral policy between the Manchus and Ming dynasty. Korean contingent commander Gang Hong-rip then surrendered with the remaining troops. The southern route. When Yang Hao heard of the annihilation of the three routes, he ordered Li Rubei to return home. Li Rubei was mainly traversing mountain routes and also had weak resolve, preferring to let the others do the fighting. Nurasi had a small scouting contingent of roughly 20 men shadowing Li Rubei, and when Li Rubei was seen to retreat, this contingent sounded the horn of attack from the mountains, pretending to be the prelude of a major attack. Panic set in amongst the Ming army, and thousands died of trampling and in the ensuing chaos. After this defeat, Li Rubei committed suicide.